Let's get to the Thursday nighter. New Orleans Saints 2-4, 1-1 on the road at the Arizona Cardinals, 2-4, 0-3 at home. We're at State Farm Stadium in Glendale, Arizona. The Cardinals open up as minus 2.5-point favorites. They are now 1-point favorites, a 1.5 move towards the Saints. From a totals perspective, it opened up at 46 and has dropped to 44.5. Again, these are pinnacle openers. Go over to the cash flow in this one. On the Thursday nighter, we have 7,590 tickets in, 45% of the tickets and 63% of the cash on the Saints. That all makes sense. Market's moving towards them. And then 70% of tickets, 79% cash on the under. That all makes sense. It's gone from 46 to 44.5. So everything is pretty simple here. The sharps or the bigger bets are coming in on the Saints and the under, and the market is moving in both of those directions. Saints come in off a 30-26 loss at home to the Bengals. They led 17-7 in the first half, 23-14 in the third quarter, but couldn't hold on to the lead. It's so difficult to cap this football team. They're playing without Landry, Michael Thomas, and Olave with the concussion. Andy Dalton was at quarterback. We're expecting Jameis Winston to be back behind center. He's not played in 3 games while recovering from back and ankle injuries. He was in uniform against the Bengals. That was the first time he was in uniform. Olave's not on the injury report. So as of Monday. So we expect him to be in the lineup on Thursday. Kamara ran 19 times for 99 yards, caught 6 passes for 25 yards. As a team, the Saints ran for 228 yards. That's their second straight 200-plus yard game on the ground. That's the third time it's happened since 1990. Traquan Smith caught 3 passes for 43 yards. Juwan Johnson caught 4 for 41. The defense just couldn't get stops when they needed them. Demario Davis had 9 tackles and 2 sacks. Lattimore was inactive. He's dealing with an abdomen injury that he suffered against the Seahawks. He has not practiced since the injury, and we are not expecting him to be available. And Arizona is the worst in the entire league stopping tight ends. So those of you in the player prop market, Juwan Johnson is capable of putting up big numbers in this game. Arizona coming off an ugly 19-9 loss on the road at Seattle. They were able to move the ball, but just couldn't finish off drives. Kyler Murray, 23 of 37 for 222 yards and a pick. He ran 10 times for 100 yards. He lost a fumble. So he comes in as the 23rd ranked quarterback EPA in the NFL. That's just wild. It's just wild how much money is being spent on Kyler Murray and Russell Wilson for them to play this atrocious. The Cardinals had their top 3 running backs inactive. Eno Benjamin was elevated to RB1. He didn't look good running the ball. 15 carries for 37 yards. Longest carry was 6 yards. Connor with the rib injury. Darrell Williams with the knee injury were ruled out. Jonathan Ward is on IR. So we'll find out if Connor and Williams are capable of coming back. Zach Ertz caught 7 passes for 70 yards. And then the big story, Marquise Brown, 5 catches for 68 yards, non-surgical fracture in his foot. He's going to be out for 6 weeks. They make the trade for Robbie Anderson, and they get DeAndre Hopkins back from his 6-game PED suspension. Kingsbury says he's going to be on a snap count. Hopkins says he's not going to be. So, last year, before Hopkins got hurt, the Cardinals averaged 30.2 points per game. Once he went down, that dropped to 18.8 points per game. It's going to be a big addition to have him back, and he's got things to prove after the negativity he's received for the PED suspension. The defense kept him in the game, though. Zaven Collins, Marcus Golden both played great. As a team, they finished with 5 sacks, 7 quarterback hits. The Cardinals' secondary is 24th in pass defense DVOA. Is that something that with Winston, the Saints are going to be able to attack? Arizona 10-17 against the spread at home in the Kingsbury Murray era. Justin Pugh, knee injury, and outside linebacker Dennis Gardeck left early in the second half with an ankle injury. We'll get more information on that. There you go. There's the table set. How are we going to make money on the Thursday nighter? Take it away, Andy.
Well, we're up 1 flat unit we're up 1.1 units by not betting the game. Like some people in the chat have already said, the game's a definition of a pass. There's so many things. Like if there's one level of uncertainty and you think, it's like 70-30, something's going to happen. And yeah, I would rather be under center than Andy Dalton's kind of putting up points, man. But it is a short week for a head coach who's saying crazy things like, hey, we might just pass off the play calling duties to someone else. That feels like a desperation move as far as, one of those things where either he's getting pressured to do that or he's on the hot seat. Although this ownership group is so cheap. I don't think they'll fire Cliff. I think Cliff is a bad coach. The fact that this offense did bupkis last week against Seattle was real. Like only 300 yards, two turnovers is bad. But trying to bring in not only a guy who's been suspended for the entire season so far, but a guy who played on a different team and integrating them into an offense just like that isn't easy. And doing it on a short week is even tougher. Pugh is a big loss. Like that's just another piece of your offense that's gone. And it's not a great pass rush. I mean, we saw that last week. I said that with Cincinnati. I said Cincinnati probably wins if this New Orleans pass rush doesn't get home because they don't tend to get home a lot. So I'd love to bet Arizona here. Like this is a nice spot for them to get the offense going, but just way too much uncertainty with all the injuries. And then New Orleans, just the only good injury news they've had is Olave, and again he's a rookie. Jameis was somebody I was high on coming into the season, but once he sustained that back injury, he started to look really, I don't know, hesitant. His touch wasn't there on some of the short stuff. He threw a couple bombs that kind of hid that. If you look at like the overall stats, like, oh, he had a good game. He had like one long pass that kind of propped it up a little. So, this is such a hard pass for me because there's a million different things going on a short week. And then Dennis Allen too. I know he's not a rookie head coach. He has coached before in the league. I think he had it was probably one of those 2.5-year stints. I think he was actually fired midseason. So he's not a rookie head coach, but first-time head coaches on short weeks like this don't tend to do well. That's a good bet against spot. But I can't get in bed with Arizona right now the way the offense looks, trying to bring in two receivers like this. If it starts to look, it might be a buy spot on them down the road if this offense gets going. But I think, honestly, out of everything I just listed, the most troubling thing was Cliff saying we're thinking about changing who and how we call plays. Like that doesn't inspire confidence to be betting on a team right now after they put up 9 points against Seattle.
It does not inspire confidence. And the way the Cardinals have been playing at home does not inspire at all confidence. I guess it's a Saints or no bet and an under or no bet, I guess. What's keeping you off of betting the under?
Just I don't like the Saints defense. I don't like either defense. I have them both pretty like the Saints may not be able to take advantage of the injured offensive line and get after Kyler Murray. And in the same rate, I have the Arizona defense ranked bottom 5. I mean, even getting pieces back, from the beginning of the season, there were some injuries. It's still been very bad. Like, truthfully, they should have given up more points last week. So I worry about these defenses just being very poor. So this total is probably about right for me.
Yeah, Top's saying too many question marks here. What's your expectation of? So they lose Marquise Brown, and he was getting a ton of attention. So what is your thoughts on Hopkins? And I guess what I think that's happening to me is I guess I'm overvaluing Hopkins coming back and Robbie Anderson.
If it were a regular week, Jimmy, if he had a full week of practice with the team, be one thing, but on a short week, trying to just bring him in and get him into the offense, it feels tough.
It does. I still leave here as we are about to move on to Sunday's card. I still leave here thinking that it's probably the Saints is the move.
I'll be live bet. I know you will too. We'll be live betting this. If the Saints offense looks lively, I'll be looking, overs or Saints.
Yeah, Spenny says, who covers D-Hop? I know he's been out, but got top 5 wide receiver in the league when healthy. And Birdie says that's the key point, the short week. Okay, RVD says, big pass for me. Better games to bet on that day. And tops it off. Papa Call says, I want to bet New Orleans, but I'll save cash and not bet it. I still leave here thinking that the Saints should be able to take care of business here. I guess I'll have to sit with it a little longer. I mean, it sure would be nicer at the plus 2.5, but the money line The money line opened up at plus 120. It opened up at plus 120 on Sunday at 6:46 p.m. By 10 p.m., that was plus 101. By 11 p.m., that was minus 106. That immediate sharp money was all over the Saints. And, I think they're right. It's come back a little bit, but I leave here thinking that I'll probably bet on the Saints here. I expect to bet on the Saints. That is your Thursday nighter